Dark Souls 3. A game not only known for its bosses, but everyone's opinions on said bosses. I happen to be a longtime speedrunner of Dark Souls 3, specializing particularly in the all bosses category. So over the years, I've acquired some opinions of my own. I posted a YouTube short not long ago, and it highlighted 3 bosses that I found particularly difficult in the all bosses speedrun. And what I learned from posting that is a lot of you out there have no idea what context simply is. But that's okay. It's 2025 and we don't really need to care about context or nuance. But I was feeling inspired to do a full rundown and ranked list of every single boss in Dark Souls 3 based on how hard I think they are in the speedrun. So if you're new here to the channel, go ahead and subscribe if you like Dark Souls 3 speedruns and whatever. Just hit the subscribe button. Enjoy the video. Okay, so the most difficult for me, I can actually just like order those 2 because we already put those in my YouTube short. So top 2 like hardest bosses in the run probably Sister Frida and Slave Knight Gale. The reason these 2 bosses are incredibly hard is they're long fights, so the margin for error is a lot higher. Sometimes you can leave this fight with 20 seconds lost, and I mean, it can be avoidable, it's very difficult. So you have to put a lot of time in the hyperbolic time chamber. You gotta spend your time just grinding out these bosses to really make the best of most of the situations they give you, because they're very reactive fights. So the way you react to how they attack you is how you're gonna save time in this fight. So these 2 bosses, very technical, very difficult. Consistency is possible, it's just very hard. Let's see. I've been dying to princes a lot. We can probably put them in the next tier down. Where's the twin princes? Here we go. This fight has some very specific things that make it difficult. You have to react to 2 different openers. Granted, the roll timing's pretty much the same on both, but you need to be like on your toes with like how many times you can attack them. And then you need to run into the proper position and keep them there. There is a technique to spin them. And if you mess this up, they're very likely to teleport away, ruining their position. And then you won't get the very helpful AI freeze. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. Controversial on my YouTube short, I put Osiris pretty high. And, yeah, there's not too much to say. Like, he is very easy casually. And a lot of the comments are like, oh, he's super easy. What do you mean he's hard? It's like, well, you guys aren't speedrunning. You guys are probably really leveled, blah, blah, blah. But in the speedrun, there's a very particular strat. And you're trying to be consistently fast every time. So, with this in mind, a boss that is very simple and easy casually becomes quite technical and difficult. I mean, we saw in my last attempt there, he was really high up on the tree branch, so I couldn't get the proper stagger. So he's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. The stagger strategy is good, but we don't have a way to properly deal with phase 1, because phase 1 is heavily RNG based. Sometimes he does mist into mist and then you're mad. So very difficult. Very difficult. So I would rank Dragon Slayer armor up there with super difficult. You have to spend quite a few practice sessions just learning how to avoid rolling for most of his attacks, as the more times you roll, the less times you can attack. So learning how to strafe most attacks, it's very fun. So it's not really like torturous to practice like these two bosses. I'd say like the way that you fight them is very, very fun. So I don't mind practicing them, but they are technical and difficult. Well, we can put Abyss Watchers in less difficult because we just freeze him. Let's see. Where's Old Demon King? Well, we just hit him and he dies. I would put Midir C rank. Yes, the cinematic masterpiece is gone. So, controversial calling Midir easy on the internet. I mean, some people just know he's an easy boss in general because he has really telegraphed slow attacks, but not everyone knows that you just stay in front of him and just take it slow, dodge his attacks. That's casually. But in the speedrun, I mean, it's still kind of the same, but in the speedrun, there's a particular set of movements and attacks that make the boss do the exact same thing every time. It makes the fight pretty trivial. The only reason I'm putting him in C rank is because it has... if you mess up a tiny bit, the script is ruined and you lose time. I wouldn't say it's particularly difficult to deal with the script being ruined. It's just... it takes technique to make the script work. If you mess it up, it's over. Where's Aldrich? We AI freeze Aldrich, so not too much there on that one. Yorm, I would put in the C tier as well. We just Storm Ruler him. I would say there is a little barrier for difficulty to get it down properly. I struggled with it a bit for years. I think I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, but overall, it's not terribly hard. You just need to practice a few different scenarios, and you can pretty much get the headshot every time, and then that makes the fight really easy. I would put Dancer at B tier. She has two openers. She can walk left or right. One's easier than the other one, in my opinion, but they don't vary that much. You need to, when she walks to the sword side, or puts you on the sword side, you have to be aware of one attack. So you can't really get too greedy on that side. There's some fancy strafes in this fight, which kind of ramp up the difficulty, but overall, I'd say it's not as difficult as the layer above it. So still hard, but fun. One of my favorite bosses to fight. Not as difficult as the other ones. Deacons of the Deep, I'm putting D tier. It's just an RNG orb chasing fight. It's not really hard. It's just stupid. Pretty straightforward. Wyvern, I'm also gonna put it in the D tier. It's pretty easy. It's still, you can still mess it up, but I wouldn't call the strategy like super hard or anything. Sometimes you just be stupid and then you lose time because you set the strategy up incorrectly. It's not that hard. It's just, it looks impressive. It's not hard. Greatwood. This fight gets carried by having the fire resin on top of the fire sword. Yeah, she's right here. I would also put Greatwood in D tier. You got Greatwood skip in there, but it's not really part of the boss fight. Maybe some people would consider it. But yeah, this fight, no, I wouldn't consider it super hard to get used to in all bosses. Glitchless all bosses, this fight is hard. It sucks. But, eh. All bosses, pretty easy. I'm gonna put Vort in C tier. I might even put it in B tier. Like he is definitely, I'm gonna say he's not hard. But so I think C tier is a good place for him. There are things you need to react to make the fight faster. You can get really tight stamina and go for a quicker kill, or you can use that stamina to roll. And if you go for the quick kill, you're a baller, and if you don't do the stamina correctly, you get hit and lose a lot of time. So I mean, it has some difficulty to it, but just stagger on hit 15, and it's not really a hard fight. Just saving those like extra seconds would just raise the difficulty ever so slightly, but you don't have to go for that. Crystal Sage. D tier, I think. With the teleport strat, it's not hard. It is not hard. Even with Soul Mass, it's not hard. So D tier is good. Wolnir. I might put Wolnir in C, but I think it's more of a... No, I think it's D. Wolnir, the barrier of entry for this fight is you just need to learn the openers. There's like 4 variations, I think. And once you learn the openers, you have nothing to worry about. There's no like spicy things you have to do in this fight. You just memorize the openers, and you're good to go. It's a little harder in the any percent categories because the 7 hits and the charged R2 and stuff, but all bosses super straightforward, pretty easy. Pontiff. This involves parrying, but you know what? I never practiced this fight, so I'm gonna put this in D. This is probably why I was not getting the instant repose. I should just like double check my timings are correct. But yeah, you don't really need to practice this fight. You just do it. And I'm not sure where to put Champ. It's somewhere in between here. Like it's still a parry fight. But it's a little trickier than Pontiff. So maybe it deserves to be a little bit higher. It's like very similar. You parry him, but you have to do like a fancy roll and then sidestep the charge attack. So you know what? I'll put it a little higher. Put it a little higher. That seems correct. Or all these, you're counting a lot of these as bosses. Udix Gundyr. I think to save like 2 seconds that makes the fight harder, but it's still like... I'd put it in D tier. It's the first boss, and there is some difficulty to it, but that's to really optimize your time. Let's see here. Who do we have? We have Nameless, Gravetender. These are all mini bosses. Gravetender, Demon Princess. Half-Light, Nameless King, Cinder. Cinder! I think the strat is a lot more guerrilla, but it still can be hard. You have to memorize different hit counts to set up your stagger. It's easier these days with modern strats, but it's still kind of hard to get the most optimal thing going. I'd put it in B tier. I've lost a few runs to Cinder, quite a few actually, so it's worth putting up there. You have to practice them. Any boss that you have to practice a lot, you need to be in the higher tiers. Nameless. I think it's B tier. The new strats really make the first part with the chicken go pretty smoothly. You can mess up the slow attack and still consistently get a stagger, which is really nice. The second phase is mostly just dealing with the RNG that you're dealt with. Sometimes he decides he's gonna dash around, but other times he's really nice to you and gives you some strafable attacks. Grave Tender! Grave Tender. The new strat makes it really nice. There's not a lot to it either. You jump in, you get the 2 hits, you combo him, phase change happens, combo him again, and then you just trade with the wolf. It doesn't require that much practice. So I think C tier is good. It's like almost scripted. The only thing that's like keeping it from being like absolutely scripted is the fact that he's an NPC bosses, and NPC bosses are they're a bit goofy, which brings me to Half-Light. I'm kind of I really don't want to put Half-Light in A tier because the fight is quote unquote consistent. But man, you need to understand what's happening to get through this stupid bastard. Maybe it's deserving of B, but oh, this fight is so cursed. I think the sheer like amount of practice you need to do to just understand how to deal with the stupidity of this fight brings it up to the A rank for difficulty. Actually, I don't know. I'm gonna put it in B tier. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. What's this, Demon Prince? I think it's pretty hard. You have to like the first part, like you have to kill the first demon while dodging the toxic blast. And you have to go fight the second demon. Like, it's not that terribly bad. It's mostly just setting up the spins, aiming him at the wall, staggering him without him eating the stagger, and ultimately finishing the fight. So I'd say because of the spinning portion that you have to do to face him to the wall, it puts it up in A tier. You have to really hammer out the practice on this one to get that down. But that's these are all mini bosses, so they don't really count. So that's all the bosses of Dark Souls 3. Those are my opinions on how difficult they are in the speedrun. So let me know what you thought. If you absolutely hate it, please let me know. If you really want to tell me that X boss is easy, I'd love to hear it, I guess. Roast me for being bad at the game, whatever. But that's the difficulty tier list for the all bosses speedrun, in my opinion. So if you guys enjoy, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.